Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Creation show. I am your host, Rebecca Boswell, and today we are going to look at how choice creates. That choice creates and different possibilities for creating a life and a living that can actually work for you, whatever that is. And towards that, contributing to that energy is our conversation today with our very special guest, Amy Shine. Amy, I'm so excited to have you here with us today. Our topic
Me too.
is dancing.
I love the name of your show.
Yeah, oh cool.
I love it, The Art of Creation. It's a
Oh,
beautiful name.
thank you. Yeah, it popped a couple of years ago, and
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun since. So, dancing with energy. You are a certified facilitator of both access consciousness and also Kundalini ecstatic dance.
Yes.
And so today, I know you've talked a lot about and played with this big idea of using dance as a way of dancing through life, dancing into and through and with abundance in your money flows, in your relationship, business. So I just was wondering if we could start today with a little bit of an insight into your world about what dancing with energy, what that is for you and what you're aware of with that.
Yeah, great. Oh my God. What am I aware of? Lots of
Yeah.
things.
All the power of the universe in some
Yeah.
little itty bitty little words.
Yeah. So, well, I think, in like looking at this reality and the way things are done in this world, that a lot of times, I had said in one of the posts, like dance isn't just about performance. Like one of the ways we can use dance, is for performance. Same as singing. Like you can sing for performance, or you can use your voice and sing just actually for release. And I think a lot of like when it comes to dance, a lot of people immediately judge it. Like they immediately judge whether they can dance, or I'm not a dancer, or I have no rhythm, or I'm not trained, or and all this stuff. And I'm not trained. I'm not a trained professional dancer. And it's really interesting when I meet people and they're like, oh, you dance? Oh, what's your training? And I'm like, or, like what type? Or they want to like put me in a box like of, and I'm like, oh no, it's not that kind of dance.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And they're like, there's other types of dance. And I'm like, yeah, like I dance for me, like I dance for my mental health, really, for my well-being. And it's something I found dance ever before I found access consciousness. It's funny to say I found dance when I came in dancing.
Yeah.
Like we're all dancers, like, like I didn't, like it's something like if you look at babies, it's like something babies are naturally dancing. If you look at us as kids, the way we run around, like we're dancing, we're like moving through life with this flow and this ease and like this kind of like just like just this vibration that we are. And then it's like what happens, we get to like our teenage years and then we start judging, and then we get to like young 20s, and then there's loads of judgment and how about your body and how you look, and then you start going to the nightclub scene and it's all about how you look and it's all about performance. And then suddenly we decide that we're not dancers, or that we can't move, or that that's only for a certain group of people. And what I found in my early 20s is that when I started I actually started clubbing a lot. And I found that I actually got a massive release when I was moving my body, when I was dancing. And I wasn't in my head, and I wasn't, so much caught up in what it looks like, just more like listening to the music and feeling the music in my body. And I started to realize that it was actually very therapeutic for me. And then that kind of started my journey of like looking at dance more just as something to move energy for me. I don't know about you, Rebecca, but when I wake in the morning, I'm like, in my head, and a lot of times we're just aware of so much stuff going on around us. And for me, talking can be very difficult sometimes, and words and speaking. And when I get up and I actually move my body, even if it's 10, 15, 20 minutes in the morning, it shifts my energy so that I can then have conversations with people. But it moves that kind of, maybe like, if you're sleeping throughout the night, and you wake up in the morning and I don't know, maybe your body's stiff, or there's stagnant energy in your world, or you're picking up on the whole world around you and you're super sensitive and you're super aware and you're like, everything is just kind of like in top of you. Well, I found that like movement really, like even if it can be 15, 20 minutes, really shifts me out of that and moves my vibration from that electrical, which this reality functions from electrical, which is all thoughts, ideas, emotions. And it shifts me from that energy to vibrational, which is that flow, that ease, joy, and glory we talk about in Access Consciousness. You know, the mantra of Access is all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory, you know, and that's how do you actually be that ease, be that joy, and be that glory when the whole world is like that, you know,
Yeah.
electrical on top of you. And just movement has been one of the main ways for me to shift that. Sometimes, you know, questions like, you know, the questions we ask in Access are amazing. And sometimes for me, I really require just to move first and then go to the questions.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really get that you're kind of bringing together your body, your you know, whatever is in this physical reality, but then you're also connecting with something greater for you
Greater,
and
yeah.
tapping into, yeah, a greater possibility. So you're both moving through the physical and then also connecting to something greater. Is that part of the ecstatic dance? I remember I lived in Hawaii years ago, and I lived before moving back to California from Hawaii. I lived for 3 months at a yoga retreat center on the Big Island. And every Sunday, that was my favorite day of the week, because on Sunday, we would go to a different retreat center after all of our duties were finished, and they had ecstatic dance. And so for, you know, however long that was, I don't even
Oh, you
remember.
did ecstatic dance.
Yes, and it was
Oh,
like the best. And so, you know,
it's
you,
amazing, right?
yes, and I
Can
loved
you
it. And
tell everyone who's watching what it was like for you? Because I feel like I talk about it all the time. I'm
yeah.
like,
Oh, and
someone
I
else knows
absolutely love
ecstatic
it.
dance.
And I wonder, it's interesting the timing of this, because I wonder if this is actually something I've been asking to bring into my life more, and
Yes.
wasn't, you know, wasn't connecting those little dots of you know, of breadcrumbs.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so for me, so it was at this place where they had this huge open air tent, but then with screens around. So, you know, closed on top, screens, and so all around basically was jungle brush, and then they had a hardwood floor, and then they had the DJ at one end, and I think they were probably, I mean, at least a couple hundred people that would show up. And now this is over in the Puna area of the Big Island, where
Yeah.
you don't even know that there are that many people living there, let alone, you know, these particular people coming out of the jungle to come dance on Sunday. And so, yeah, it was really interesting, because I remember thinking, man, this is just like being at a rave, but in the middle of the day, and I'm totally sober,
Sober,
and it's
yeah.
so amazing.
And a nicer environment, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so it was really amazing, because even with these larger groups, um, you know, everyone would come in, it would start, and then the music would definitely crescendo and peak in the middle, and then come back down. And then it would just be this amazing mix of I mean, that DJ was amazing, tribal um, and electronica and world music, all kind of mixed and jumbled together. And then at the end, everyone would sit in a circle, like all, even if you know, regardless of how many people it was, would sit around this whole big circle. And if you wanted to share something that showed up for you during the dance, or, you know, something that you were moved to speak, there was that space for you to do that, which was really cool too. So I don't know if that's part of like a
Yeah,
format or what.
that's
Is
so
that how
funny. Yeah,
you
yeah. No,
facilitate
that
it?
is ecstatic. Yeah, that is. You know, like I mean, ecstatic dance is kind of like yoga now. You know, like there's all different. Like we have ecstatic dance. I found 5 rhythms in Ireland. That's how I found it.
Okay.
Like I was dancing on my own in a way at home. Like I was just like, okay, you know, I need to like move energy. And then I found this, you know, 5 rhythms group a friend suggested to me, because I wasn't drinking. I was going to AA at the time, and I needed an outlet to go and dance and have fun. And the nightclub scene was just so not, you know, so dead for me, and just so like what's the word, like soulless, like there was just no soul there, like there was just no depth,
Yeah,
no, it was
vacuous.
just so empty, like it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is terrible, you know. And so my friend and someone I knew at the time just, Amy, go try this 5 rhythms class, and I did. And the first time I went, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this exists. Like, this is what I've been doing on my own in my
Yes.
house, and now there's like a group of people, and like that there's a DJ, and it takes you on this journey. Like, there, you know, it's not just like, okay, like thump, we're just going to dance. There's actually like you know, a methodology behind it. And like you said, you know, there's like music, it warms you up, you start to like move, flow, then you start to move into more tribal, fiery, then you move into more letting go. And it's all like a journey from your head down into your heart, which is, for me, it's a journey to move beyond the mind, like to go beyond the thoughts, ideas, and emotions. And that's what it brings you on. It literally warms you up, brings you up, brings you up, brings you up, so that you can actually let go totally of your mind and of what you look like and of the thoughts and of what anybody else thinks about you. And just be, like we talk in Access about, being out of control, out of form, out of structure, out of linearity, out of contricities. What's been out of form and out of structure is like dance like no one's watching,
Yeah.
you know, and not with the thought pattern of what does this look, because even when we go to yoga, we're still looking in the mirror and we're still like, what does this look like? And I'm not doing downward dog properly, and I'm da 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 da, and the teacher can do this and I can't, and how long have I been doing, you know, we
Yeah.
go through all, even when we do like stuff like Zumba, I'm like, I can't follow the steps, and like all these forms of movement are great, but I'm really interested in going beyond the mind, like shutting that head stuff off and going beyond that, and actually being willing to be out of control and out of form and out of structure.
Yeah.
So that, what's 5 rhythms and ecstatic dance provided me with, was that, oh my God, I can let go.
Yeah.
You know, I can just let this mind go. And then it brings you, and then once you let go, then you open up, you know, to the universe. You know, then you can get your knowing, and you can get what's true for you. And then you have the stillness and the ease and the peace and that sense of, oh,
Yeah.
here I am, you know? So that is ecstatic dance, you know, 5 rhythms, journey dance, all those kind of, they're all teaching the same thing, which is getting out of your head into your body and letting go.
Yeah. And I mean, what I hear you saying too is that, you know, you're letting go of everything, you're letting go of the form and structure, and at the same time, you're within a you know, a loose container that offers your mind a sense of like, okay, this is a safe space. You
That you can do
can
that, yeah.
practice being out of control, out of form, structure, linearity, concentricities, and go beyond that sense of like, but
Yeah.
I might be in
And
danger.
yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because like, would you let go like that in a nightclub? Probably not, you know, or would you have to be absolutely hammered drunk, or at least have some alcohol in you to
Yeah.
let go like that? Because the environment doesn't support it. Like, and that's what you said about like this, you know, you walk into the space, like the facilitator, like if I'm creating the class, I'm holding space. And there is something about that, like you do actually hold a space for people to come in and let go, and you know, and you play the music, and you provide that space where it's okay to let go. And like you said, it's a safe container as such, because it's set up that way. So you are more, you know, and it is a process, like you do, like there is a journey letting go, you know, like you can let go more and more. And also like and also what I teach is Kundalini ecstatic dance. So we also teach a lot of breath work with it. So it's not just you come, you dance, but you also do a lot of breath work for each part of the dance. And what that does is it gets you really present in your body, so you don't leave your body. So that's another thing I saw a lot of people do, is that sometimes in these kind of dance events, they would leave their body because they want to get out of their head. So they just think they got to leave their body.
Yeah.
But the breath and the breath practices that we teach brings you into your body, keeps you in your body, so you're letting go but not leaving your body. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there is, I mean, it's a really great distinction to be aware of where we try to disassociate or distract or separate. And what you're talking about really is being fully present within and through the body, and also connected to something greater, so that there is no separation.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no separation between you and your body and the people in the room. And I just wanted to say as well, like, in those kind of environments, like there's such, like you talked about the 100 people, like what was the energy like in the room with 100 people
Yeah.
dancing together,
Yeah.
sober,
Yeah.
not with drink, not with drugs, and what it does is it's ecstatic dance, right? So it wakes up the ecstasy in your body, which is the joy, which is our natural state of being. It actually wakes it up. So for me, someone who used to, seek ecstasy through other ways, for me to actually access the ecstasy within me was better than any drug, because now I have it in me. Now it's awake in me. Now I can have it. And like we
Yeah.
talked about, now I can have it, start to take that energy in my business and my creations. So it's like you wake it up in your body and you get to access it when you're dancing, and then you get to have it in every other area of your life, because there's no separation
Yeah.
between you and your business and your body and your money and all your relationships, right?
Yeah, and what's popping up for me as you're talking too is this thing of like, how often do we look outside of ourselves for something? I'm looking outside of myself to this thing to feel better, a person, a substance, an action, some kind of feedback.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about here is this is another possibility for where you can ramp up your energy, you can get that connection, you can begin to feel better in your body, and you're really connecting with whatever source is and with yourself. So you're not just going looking for something else outside,
Yeah.
but you're also tapping into how you and your power and what you're being is really creating what's showing up with your chemistry, with your mood, with
Yeah.
the experiences you're creating with the people around you.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love that. And also, just what popped when you were saying that was, so like, like we think, like a lot of times we do things, we're like, oh, that's amazing. I feel better. That's great. That's usually our goal. I want to
Yeah.
feel better. I want to feel more alive, more awake, more joyful. But a lot of times we don't realize what's going on a cellular level.
Yeah.
And, the bars, I'm sure you've talking about the bars on your show,
Yeah,
from
different
Access
people have
Consciousness.
mentioned it, definitely.
Yeah. So the bars is, what we both teach, me and Rebecca, and it's, oh my God, it's incredible. If you want peace and ease and joy in your life, it's the fastest way for me, anyway. It was the fastest way of accessing it, that and dance. So the bars, what it does is different points on your head, and it's all connected to your thoughts, ideas, and emotions. And they've shown, like the neuroscientists have shown, that when you get your bars run, the brain waves slow down, and when they slow down, neural pathways change, so behaviors change, so your reaction patterns are different now. So I found, like, after a couple of months of getting my bars run, I was around family members and I wasn't like reacting anymore or getting defensive. Well, that was the bars. It was like slowing down my brain waves, and I was changing behaviors. Like, reactions weren't there anymore. I was creating new neural pathways, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the same when you do Kundalini dance, ecstatic dance, because we're incorporating the breath with the movement, and we also incorporate sound.
Mm.
It actually, what it does is, because if anyone doesn't know this, your cells have memories, right? So everything that's happened to you in your life, you store in your cells, in like your cells are like got these memories in them, and that creates a lot of our reaction patterns. So if someone says something to you today, you may react in a totally inappropriate, or out of you react totally out of
Yeah.
proportion to what's happening. It's because there's like memories in your
Yeah.
cell, and you're probably reacting to something that happened when you were 5.
Yeah.
So the bars is a way of deleting those memories. Well, ecstatic dance is also a way of deleting those memories and creating new pathways, because dance is the same thing. It actually slows your brain waves down, so you change the neural pathways, you change your reactions. The cellular memories, you're literally like clearing the memories from your cells.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of like, whoa.
Yeah, no, but it's
But
amazing, and that's where that's where I get really excited about Choice Creates, and about like
yeah,
how every time we make a choice, we're actually creating new pathways for that, and every time that we choose, something that is a contribution to us or creating greater, you know, we're actually reinforcing those pathways, you know, as
like,
opposed
and
to choices that are, you know, destructive or that are not contributing, you know. But if there's a rut, you know, so there, that's where that moment of choice comes in,
yeah,
of like, wait a minute, this is what I usually choose, it's actually not working for me. You know, what would it take for me to now have this practice of noticing, stopping, and then, you know, beginning to choose something else until this pathway is just not even relevant anymore.
yeah, and a lot of it's happening without you even realizing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not cognitive. It's just like, I had a group of women who I created like a dance, ecstatic dance workshop with for 6 months in Ireland, and I did it as part of my college thesis. It was called The Value of Dance for Women in Recovery, and they journaled their process, and it was so interesting. Like, how, you know, like they come in like, oh, I don't want to dance. I kind of like, fear comes up, you know, care, like being worried what you look like, you know, being shy, all these things. And then they journaled how, okay, after a while, like that changed, and I started to come out of myself, and I started to think less about what I looked like, and and then by the end, it's like, you're like, oh my God, this, you know, like totally at one, connected to you, your body, the earth, the universe. But one of the ladies actually, you know, she said to me afterwards, she goes, Amy, this like totally changed my world. Like, she said, I, like a couple of months or a year later, she actually got into a relationship. So the dance brought up a lot of the stuff with like being intimate, like dance, because you know, you move with other people, you're dancing alongside other people, so you get to see your patterns. Like, do you try to close off? Do you engage with other people? Because people will dance next to you, they'll dance opposite you, they'll engage with you. Do you engage back? Do you cut off? Do you say no? Do you say yes when you want to say no? Do you say no when you want to say yes? You know, just even in the moving with someone, do you, you know, say if you and me are moving opposite each other, and then I'm like, okay, I want to move on. Do I stay because I don't want to hurt your feelings? Or am I able to move on? You know, all this stuff is going on, like, and we don't even realize it. We just think, okay, you're going through this awkward stuff in
Yeah.
your head,
Wow.
but you're actually processing a lot of your relationship stuff, your intimacy stuff, your walls, your barriers, you know. And that's one thing for dance for me. Like, that's why I see dance as something different, as a different possibility in the world, beyond the performance, beyond the, you know, what it looks like. Is that for me, it's a place where there's no judgment. And it's one of these areas for me, it's like, it's one area where I do not judge me and I do not judge others. And there is no walls and no separations. And it's just like, it's a place where I really get to access that oneness and that consciousness.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking to have more of it and be more of it and have more of that in other areas of my life. You know, how can I have that energy with money? How can I have that energy with my business? How can I have that energy in my relationships?
Yeah. And
You
it's
know?
really cool, you know, just bringing up this and putting a little flashlight on it for everyone, you know, whether it's dance for you watching, or if there's something else. It could be singing, it could be
Yeah, what
writing,
is it?
you
Yeah.
know, anything. You know, what is it? And yeah, what is it that makes it such a gift in your world? And can you tap into where there are bits and pieces of that energy showing up in other, even if unrelated parts of your life, so that you can start turning those energies up and having more of this show up in your life, even if it's in all different ways and forms.
Yeah, like is there one thing in your life right now, if we all, you know, if everyone listening and listening to the future ask themselves, okay, is there one thing in my life where I don't judge me?
Yeah.
You know, where I have that sense of like, oh my God, aliveness and joy and ecstasy, you know. And like you said, it could be singing, it could be writing, it could be, you know, it could be being with your children, it could be like making pottery, whatever it is there's something that when you're doing it, or when you're, you know, when you're with that, you're just like, whew,
Yeah.
there I am, you
Yeah.
know, no judgment, no walls, no separations, just like, whew. And like, and what would it take to have more of that energy
Yeah.
with everything else?
Yeah. And I
Because if you
mean,
have it with that one thing, then you can also have it with everything else.
yeah. And, you know, I'm just
Yeah.
also perceiving, like, if there's anyone who's watching and is like, I don't have a thing,
Have anything,
right?
yeah.
It's
Ask
like,
for it.
well, what a fun experiment and game that you can
Yeah.
play now. It's like, okay, so what would it take to go out into the world and start just asking, okay, so what does light me up? Like where,
Yeah.
where is this for me? And what does it look like? It might be, maybe this popped into your world, even just to introduce you to the possibility of dance or ecstatic dance. Maybe
Yeah.
look that up and just see. Maybe that's something for you, or
And I'm
maybe,
glad,
yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you said that, Rebecca, because like sometimes I think people look at us and think, oh my God, you've always been like this, and like I was like, the reason I found ecstatic dance was because I was so lost. Like I was, and I say like dance was one of the things that saved my life, and it really did, because I was so, like you said, I didn't have anything. I was so dead inside. And like you don't understand the amount of things I tried before I found ecstatic dance. Like I did everything: kickboxing, zumba, salsa, like so many different things. And inside I was like not happy, because I was just like, oh my God, let me, and I was trying all different things. And, and then, and I came to a place where I actually started to access that joy within me through that dance and through other mediums, not just dance. I found access bars gave me a lot of ease, different friends that I met that had my back, that supported me, lots of different things, and creating like a self-care practice in my life for me,
Mm-hmm.
stopping the judgment of me, lots of things definitely contributed. But I didn't get here like overnight. I definitely had to say, like, go out in the world and try so many different things,
Yeah.
and be like, okay, that was fun, now what? Or that wasn't fun, what
Yeah.
else is there? And just, that's one thing I've always had, is the kind of the persistence to like never give up, like to always try. And I'm still always trying new things, to keep an open mind. Like I don't conclude that this is all I have, or this is it now. I have dance and bars, I'm good. Like
Yeah.
I'm always trying new things, and I'm always like wondering and looking out and looking at what's going on and trying, and just seeing, because there's always more.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can show up in such unlikely ways. So even, if someone's like, well, I've never danced, that couldn't
Yeah.
be for me. Well, who knows? And the wonderful thing is all you really require is your body.
Yeah.
You don't even really need music. And, if you do have a source of music, then of course that can be fun too. Um, and then, yeah, is it fun to start bringing people? And I love what you were talking about too, about being in this ecstatic dance and having it almost be like a little microcosm, and and this almost laboratory to become aware of how you are with other people, and
Yeah.
intimacy, and with yourself. And it's really cool to look at it that way too, and to think that just by moving our bodies, and by being in situations with other people, that we see people all the time, but how much do we really engage with them, and how much do we engage with people with our bodies?
Yeah.
I
Wow,
mean, there
that's
might
interesting.
be
Yeah.
one person, or maybe for some people there's multiple people, but still, like, it's such a different experience, isolated events versus being in a room with a bunch of different people and this shared experience.
Yeah. And there is, I mean, you've experienced it, I'm sure. Like there's such a power in numbers when you have a number of people come together and all moving through that energy. You're all accessing that together. There is that sense of like oneness and
Yeah.
no separation. And
Yeah.
people will still create separation, but like if you're willing to go there, then you also invite other people to go there in the room too,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and there is that, like, that energy when there's all those people in the room. It's like, same when you go to an access consciousness class, there's like a power in numbers.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Well, there's that sense of, there is also that sense of, being, um, of belonging. I mean,
yeah.
we are pack animals, even though
Yeah,
that may not be normal these days, but it is actually natural for us. Sometimes I think we forget.
I know, especially in the, like, today's world at the moment, when we're all just on our computers and our phones and all that stuff. I wanted to ask you something, Rebecca.
Please.
So like when you wake up in the morning, like what's the first thing you do? Like
Yeah.
do you,
So for me, actually, my first thing is I jump out of bed, and it's my first thing is contact with my animals. So it's always, I
oh,
have
that's
two
nice.
dogs and two
Yeah.
bunnies. And so there's like the first routine is always with the animals. Um, and then I do require a little bit of movement just to get
Yeah.
my blood flowing
Yeah.
and to clear my head a little bit and to just be
Yeah.
ready, even before I talk to people. I mean, the
Yeah.
animals are fine, but I'm not quite ready to talk to the people until, until I've kind of gone through my little routine. And then, movement to me is so important. I'm actually running a marathon on
Oh,
Sunday.
wow.
So,
Oh, wow.
so I've been doing a lot of running lately,
Yeah.
but then other types of movement. And what I really love about the dance and what I love about this conversation with the reminder is, having more of that organic movement in our life, especially, running is very
Yeah.
linear.
Yeah.
And
I ran for years.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a
Yeah.
beauty to it. Like there is,
Hmm.
if I'm out running for several hours, there is a sense of connection, and there's a peace there that I find beautiful. But it's so different to when I'm, like
Yeah.
exploring my wings
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
feeling every joint in my
Yeah.
hands and, moving
I
my
love how you're.
spine and, my neck gets
Yeah.
to be free and I
Yeah.
feel what it's like to have my hair flow on my face
Yeah.
and, it's that tickle of being alive that you don't get, or I
Yeah.
don't get if I'm just going through my everyday.
I know. I know. I know. It's amazing how even like just you even just doing that little bit of movement. I was like, oh yeah.
Right,
Like,
and then your
it's
body
like
is like,
I'm
let's
like,
do that.
oh yeah, please, can we just like flow? Because
Yes.
it, like you said, like there's just this flow to it, and it's like, oh, I don't even have to think. Okay, and there's a real expression in it as well, and a real creativity. Um, but the reason I asked you the question is because I wondered, like, with like how many of us get up in the morning and look at our phone first thing.
Oh
I
yeah.
noticed I was doing that a lot, and I had to stop and and I may even think about getting an alarm clock that isn't on my phone. Like that we get up and like, and I'm so glad you said that about the people thing. Even this morning I got up and I spoke to my husband first thing, and I shouldn't have. Like I knew, like I'm like, oh, I should have just went to my, because I do have like a spare bedroom where I have like, it's set up and I have a little yoga mat, and and I can do a bit of movement in there, and like you said, just do like I do like I do little guidance cards, and I write out a couple of things, and it kind of just sets me up so I'm not like going straight out into the world like But yeah, that was one of the things I wondered, how many of us get up in the morning and go straight to our phones, and we tap into all that like
Noise.
noise
Yeah.
before we even move our bodies.
Yeah, and do we
So
even acknowledge that we have a body, or are we just like a brain floating
straight
around?
away,
Yeah.
yeah, we're like plugged into like what we must do, what this person wants from me, da 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 da.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that just came up this morning. I was like,
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, a really great reminder to me, and I'm sure to all of you watching too. It's like, okay, so how are we starting our day, and what are the things that we're choosing in that first, maybe even just 5 minutes, and what is that creating? How does that set the tone for the day? How does that feel in your body? What does it create, in your mental space? And
yeah.
yeah, could you choose something
And
different?
and like you said, are we including our bodies when we
Yeah.
wake up?
Yeah.
Like, are we listening to our bodies? Like you said, even if it's 5-10 minutes of movement, just to get the blood flowing, that can create a massive shift. And even throughout your day, like I'll notice being on my computer, like if I have some work to do on my computer, like after about 20, 30, 40, max an hour, my body starts like palpitating.
Yeah.
Like literally, it'd be like boom, 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 boom. If I
Yeah.
was to go to a doctor, they'd tell me I have probably anxiety, and put me on meds. But it's not anxiety. That's my body being like, move, move,
Move. Yeah.
move,
Yeah.
move. And it's like too long in one place, too long on the computer, too much in your head, move. And, to listen to that, like even if it's just walk outside and walk on the grass for 5 minutes, dip
Yeah.
your feet in the swimming pool, or, whatever it is, like we were just doing there, like, sometimes I'm standing up and I'm just moving,
Yeah.
And I've started to do that now when I'm on the computer. I'm like, okay, let me just, as I, do my thing, let me stand and move as well at the same time.
Yeah, and that dancing with energy topic that we're talking about,
Yeah.
it's easy to say, oh, dancing with energy, talking about ecstatic dance,
Yeah.
looking at moving. But then what you're kind of pointing at now too is this next space also of where, where we are dancing with energy throughout our day, even if it's not a I am now dancing, there's always this movement of energy. And are we trying to contain it? Are we contracting it in our bodies?
Oh.
Or are we actually allowing it to contribute to what we're creating? And are we willing to let it move through when it's required? Or are we trying to, keep it all in
oh my
this
God,
space?
Rebecca, you just gave me a big whoa moment.
Yeah,
Thank
cool.
you. I just realized that, well, I spent a lot of my life, because I told you I used to run, so I spent a lot of my life trying to get rid of energy, okay? Because I would wake up and I'd be like, ah! And I'm like, how do I deal with this? Let me go run. And then I go run, and try to like get rid of the energy, like get it out of me, So I've had a lot of that kind of programming that, like, if I wake up and I'm anxious or my body's shaking, I need to go do yoga. I need to do something to get rid of.
It's too much.
Rather than it's too much, or else let me try and lock it in and contain it. That never really works that well either. So rather than what you just said there is beautiful, like use the energy to contribute to what you're creating.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to get rid of it or trying to contain it, move with it and see what that energy wants to contribute to your creations. We're on the Art of Creation show. To your money, to your relationships, to your day.
Yes.
Like, what is that energy asking for?
Yeah.
And what's it trying to tell you? And what contributions?
Yeah. And that's where we're then dancing through life.
Yeah.
Instead of, muscling through or struggling through. Or, trying to get through
the day and get everything done. Like, how can you use that dance throughout your day?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're adding in this whole spirit of play too. I mean, bodies, dancing, moving, like that's what we do when we play as children. And
I know, we never stop moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about kids these days, but when I was growing up, like we didn't have computers, we didn't have phones. I'm making myself sound so old, but I'm really not that. But like we grew up in the country, like, and we would just be like out playing, like always with my brothers, like up the mountains, down the road. Like we wouldn't come home till nighttime and mother till dinner was ready. You come home when you're hungry.
Yeah.
And so how much movement did you have as a child,
Yeah.
And then where did you shut that off? Like, because you can't move now. Like, even if you work at an office job, like I'm sitting here with you and I'm like this,
Yeah.
Like, you can sit at a computer and still move your top.
Yeah.
First, you can move your neck. You can move your hips.
Yeah.
So what if we didn't have to shut it off?
Yeah.
And everywhere we did shut it off as kids, because we were made go to school and we were made sit down, and maybe those 8 hours were just like a lot for our bodies. So we had to try and learn how to contain it, or otherwise we were given out, right? We were told, you were given out to by our teachers.
Yeah. Well, and
so
that's
how much.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just getting now, how much did we actually shut off that movement of energy? And how much did we make that movement of energy wrong?
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And how can we now make those choices and create those experiences now to create something different? And, if we are, sometimes we are in a space where, if I'm at a meeting or somewhere, like I may not be able to, do what I need to do. But we can also still allow that energy to flow, by gifting it through our feet down into the ground, giving it to the
and
earth,
breathing,
allowing it to flow out in any direction. And so just that little piece of like, dancing with energy, it doesn't mean I'm holding this energy and I'm dancing. It's actually like, what if you could see yourself as, I forget the name of the photographer now, but I love the photographs that he takes of women in beautiful flowing dresses in water. Have you seen those? I'll see if I can find it and put the link in the show notes. But he takes these underwater photographs and they're just so fluid and beautiful. And it's like that. It's like knowing that you are just part of this whole. And so as you move, it's moving with you, right? It's just shifting of space and and molecules
Yeah.
and just knowing that, you know, you can still move and dance with the energy even if nobody sees your body moving.
Yes, I
So,
love that. Yeah.
right? It might
Yeah.
sound really crazy,
Yeah.
but nobody has to know that you're playing with something a little wacky. And, you
Yeah.
know, what if you just played with it, experimented with it, and saw what that could create for you?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And actually, Sylvia just texted on the group, on the messages, saying that she just realized she was containing. I think she realized she was trying to keep her movement in pockets, like movement of her body in pockets throughout the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, me too.
Yeah.
I just got that awareness too.
Really, it is really interesting. And Sylvia, I love the comments that you've been putting in here and the ahas. And I love that you're going to go check out some of the different events. I wonder how much fun that could be.
Yeah, I mean, that's ecstatic dance is like, I mean, I know it's really big in California, like big, you know, I think Sylvia's in Phoenix. I'm pretty sure it's out there. Like, I mean, we've got a big community in Florida. If you look it up, you will probably find something like that in your area. It could be ecstatic dance, it could be five rhythms, it could be conscious dance, it could be journey dance, chakra dance. Kind of like yoga, there's all these different, you know,
Yeah.
ones forming from the one kind of
Main.
teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it started as
So
5 rhythms, correct?
I think Five Rhythms was kind of the first one Gabriel wrote, and I think from that then
Yeah.
other, you know, teachings sprung
Yeah.
out. But like Rebecca, like if you look at us, you know, back in like maybe tribal days, like go back to, you know, like before we kind of became more civil. Like, you know, we danced with the earth, you know, like back in tribal days, like you're dancing with the earth, you're moving
Yeah.
energy, you're connected to the earth. Like even in Ireland, you know, before they made Irish dancing what it was really a free form dance. So if you look at the history of where you're from or your culture, there's probably ever before they made the dance a structure, it was probably free form. So, you know, and again, look at us as kids, like we're dancing with the earth, you know. And so I think that's how the conscious dance movement started springing up. It was like, okay, you know, it's
Yeah.
time to wake us up again, like wake up our bodies, wake
Yeah.
up our being, wake up, you know, shake it up, like.
Yeah.
So
When yeah, everything gets so structured and it's like, wait a minute,
structured,
how
yeah,
can we
and
play
contained.
still with the
Yeah,
creativity and the
yeah,
organic movements that,
yeah,
you know, can be surprising and different, and what the body actually requires sometimes. I mean, how often have
yeah.
you like adjusted yourself without even realizing it, just by dancing and allowing your body to unwind, or, you know, your bones to settle into a different position?
Yeah,
So,
definitely. We
go ahead.
No, I was going to say we become so structured, like even in our routines, like of going to yoga or going to the gym or whatever it is, or running, you know, a lot of that can still be very structured. Like we still try to contain ourselves in this body rather than, like you said, just let go
Yeah,
and be free.
cool. So I would love to, I will put the link into the show notes. I know that you contributed to a book. I think,
Oh,
did it
yeah,
come
I
out
did.
last year? Was it? The
I
time
think,
kind of
I
flies
don't,
now.
yeah, I think it may have been 2 years
Two
ago. I'm not
years ago,
sure.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. There
And
was a
so
bunch of us.
you
I think it was
contributed
like
to that?
6 of us. Yeah, all different facilitators of access consciousness, and all of us had like different experiences with dance. Some of us were trained dancers, some of us did more the conscious free movement dance. So we basically all wrote a chapter. I think there was 6 of us or 7 of us, and we all shared our experience with dance and how we use the tools of access consciousness and the questions to create a different possibility for us in our bodies and our life and in the world with dance and movement.
Really cool.
So the book's called Dancing as the Body of Consciousness, I
Cool.
think. That's
Well,
what it's called.
yeah, it's cool. So we will definitely include the link in case anybody is interested in checking that out. And how else can people find you, play with you, have more of you?
Facebook is a great way if you know, and if anyone has any questions about ecstatic dance or Kundalini dance or any of the stuff we talked about, just send me a Facebook message here. It's Amy, Amy Shine, Shine. that's probably the fastest way to get a hold of me.
Okay.
And
And then you also have
yeah.
a business page on Facebook too, correct? The
Yes,
Shine Movements.
shine movements. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll post that underneath if you want to
Yeah, and
go
we'll
on there
put
and you
those in
can
the
like it and
YouTube
follow.
notes too.
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect.
yeah. This
Awesome.
was so much fun, Rebecca. Thank you
Yeah,
so
well, this
much.
is
I
really,
love
it
it.
has been amazing. Is there any
Yeah.
last takeaway or any last piece that you'd like to speak out into the world?
I think my all I would love is for everyone to have something in their world that lights them up, you know, and like if you don't have it right now, just keep asking and keep looking and keep trying different things. And you know, and what if like there's no one thing either, you know? So just like what if we just came here to have fun and be free, and what would it take to have more of that energy
Yeah,
beyond the structure, beyond the judgment?
cool.
So whatever it is that gives you that freedom, be it, be all
Be
of
it,
it.
choose it, enjoy it,
Yes.
live it. Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
Amy,
Thanks,
it
Rebecca. You're
has been
amazing.
such a pleasure. Thank you so much. And everybody watching today, thank you for popping in your comments, for adding to the energy of the
Yeah.
show, for co-creating here with us. It's amazing to have you be
Yes.
with us live. We really appreciate it. And I love seeing all those little hearts flying around. So thank you for that. All of you watching in the future, thank you for coming and enjoying the channel. Please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get notifications of every new episode with our upcoming guests. And if you have someone that you would like to nominate as a guest for the show, we would love to hear your input. And as always, have a wonderful week. And I wonder what we'll discover next. See you guys later.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Rebecca.